Good afternoon. My name is Rick Tidd. I'm a tax and valuation partner with Bowers & Company.
And I'm Terrell Tidd. I'm also a tax and valuation partner here at Bowers.
As I'm sure everybody's heard, on Friday, July 4th, President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill. So we are here to give some updates to the bill and some brief explanations of what is passed. Just as a reminder, although it is law now, it will take some time to get this law into the tax code and the regulations and for the IRS to issue instructions and those such things. So this is kind of a very brief overview. I'm going to start. The first one is bonus depreciation. Everybody, I think, is aware of this. So now bonus depreciation is back to 100%. It is permanent, so we don't have expirations anymore, and it is effective for assets placed in service January 20th and on of 2025.
And then research and development expenses, we were back to 100% expensing as of 1/1/25. There is some retroactive treatment in there for small businesses. You can go back to 2022 and choose to expense all of these costs if you were capitalizing and amortizing them as you were supposed to be under the previous law. If you're a large business, or if you don't want to do that, if that's not beneficial for you, you'll be able to deduct all of your remaining unamortized research and development expenses over either a 1 or 2 year period starting in 2025.
Next up, we have another popular one that is the SALT deduction to the state and local taxes. If you remember, back in 2018, this was limited to $10,000. That limit has been increased to $40,000 with some phase outs, of course. The key here, too, is that this is not a permanent change. This will expire at the end of 2029, so we have a short window of this.
The limitation on business interest expense deductions, we've gone back to being able to add back depreciation and amortization expense to your adjusted taxable income. So now you're going to have a larger limitation threshold in order to deduct your business interest expense. So that's a positive for businesses.
The next one, very popular one with our clients, is the qualified business income deduction. 2018, this was placed into law with a deduction of 20% for qualified businesses. So this, again, is made permanent, so we don't have an expiration of this. This affects S corporations, partnerships, Schedule C's, Schedule E's, things like that. So this is permanent. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Gearing a little more towards individuals, the standard deduction has been raised. We're at $15,750 for single filers and double that for joint, so you'd be at $31,500, and there is an additional $6,000 standard deduction for seniors over 65, subject to some income phase outs.
The next one I'll cover is one that we certainly heard on the campaign trail, which is has to do with qualified tip income. It's not an exemption, but it has ended up as a deduction. So as long as you meet certain income requirements, you can deduct up to $25,000 of your tip income. Just like some of the others, this expires at the end of 2028, so it's a very short window.
And another one from the campaign trail that's new is a deduction for overtime pay. $12,500 deduction for single, double that for joint, so $25,000. Also subject to income phase outs, and we'll be keeping an eye on guidance coming up in terms of reporting because, like for example, in your W-2s, overtime pay isn't segregated at this point, so there's going to have to be some updated reporting requirements.
Yep. And the final one that I'm going to cover is a child tax credit. That is now $2,200 per child and will increase. It will be indexed for inflation.
And the last one I'll talk about is 1099 filing thresholds. This is a nice one because right now you need to file 1099s for people that you're paying over $600 to. The threshold has been $600 for a few years now. They're going to raise that to $2,000 starting 1/1/26. So just keep in mind the start date because 2025 is still $600. But then it'll be indexed for inflation going forward. But there are over 800 pages to this tax law. There's going to be a lot of regulations coming, as Rick mentioned. So please feel free to give Rick a call, give myself a call, anyone at our team if you have any questions or want to talk further about how some of these changes are going to affect you or your business. Thanks.